Hey folks, it's Nick Granville. Welcome to my guitar channel. So here I am today to talk about the Fractal VP4. Finally got my hands on one. I've been waiting for a while. I've been really excited about this unit. I think it's one that's going to bridge a gap between those that are into modeling and those that kind of want a little bit of that stuff, but more the effects-based stuff. And all the sounds that you heard in the intro there were all done with the VP4, just straight into my Victoria Bassman, which is a 45-410. These are the settings on the amp. And I just mic'd it with an SM57. So I've set up, you've got 4 blocks that you can use with this thing. And they can be any of the effects in the Fractal catalog. So I've set up reverb, delay, tremolo, and pitch. And the reason for the pitch is that I wanted to have chorus plus be able to have octaves and stuff. So the reverb, I've got it set like this. So that's a large hall. So the thing with the Fractal reverbs is they're really, really good. And then I've set up a delay. So it's really subtle. And then tremolo. This is a harmonic tremolo, which is my favorite type of tremolo. Now I was thinking what to do with the 4th block, and I went with pitch, and there's a couple of reasons why. So it's an octave, right? So that's what I'd use most of the time. But one thing I figured out about this unit is if you hold, say, button 1, which is pitch, you get 4 options, right? And you can program these. So if I hold, these are the ones that I've set up in here. So I've got an octave divider, I've got a dual detune, which is like chorusing, quad detune, which is like a more intense chorusing, and then Chrystal Echos. So let's go to the dual detune. So if I'm going to use chorusing, that's probably what I'm going to do, something like that. Let's go to the quad detune. So it's a little more intense, a little more developed. And then let's go to the Chrystal Echos. So that's sort of an ethereal effect, and that's kind of a cool one to have in your toolbox as well. So same with the tremolo, I've set up the harmonic trem as my main one, but I can also go bias trem. Here's the harmonic trem, which is a little bit more kind of Leslie-like. See, I've changed the tempos as well. I don't know what a neon trem is, but I set this up for a crazy sound. And I was thinking about what to do with the 4th slot, and so I went with this. A real slow tremolo. Almost sounds like vibrato. So here's the delays. So with just an analog echo. Just something I'd use in the lead tone in combination with something like this. So you're probably at this point wondering why I didn't use any drive blocks. Well, for me, the thing with a drive block is it feels like that's a waste of a block in this, right? You can do that, sure, totally, and they're really good. But to me, I'd rather use the dude. Now, in the intro there, you did hear me use the BB preamp as in the unit, because all the sounds in the intro were done on the VP4. But I would set up, for personal use, I would set up 4 effects blocks and then run pedals into it. So here's the 4 delays that I've set up. Stereo mind guy, so memory man type thing, I think. So super useful. This is a sweep delay. So if you're doing something kind of reggae-ish, then of course you got to have reverse delays. So I use that when I want a crazy effect, you know, sort of a nod to Jimi Hendrix, if you will. So reverbs wise, I set up a hall. Now Fractal were kind of known for their modeling. To me, their effects is kind of the big ones. And in particular, reverb. I actually really find it tough to play without reverb. And the main reason is that to me, I end up playing a lot more notes when there's no reverb, right? Because the reverb fills that gap. So I find I don't have to play as much. But I also like to play a lot of rhythm guitar, like that's a big part of what I do. So I set up a reverb that's very short and quieter. So for busier kind of funk rhythm guitar parts. You don't want it dry, but you don't want like that big reverb either, or bigger reverb. And then, on occasion, you want to go crazy with the verb. So this is a stone quarry. Pretty cool. And then I had to have an effects sound in here as well. And one thing I was worried about was am I going to have to run a tuner? Nope. If you hit button 3 and 4 together, it takes you to the tuner. And the brilliant thing about this is also tap tempo. So I can tap my tempo in on button number 1. You can see it changing here. But I can also mute to tune. Which is great because when I'm tapping tempo and I don't want it muted, right? So I can still be playing, have all the sounds go through, tap the tempo in, and then flick back out of that. That's super handy. Right, another thing that they've thought about really well with this, if I hold 1 and 2 down, I can change different modes. So I can go to a mode that allows me to roll through presets, one that allows me to roll through scenes, and with scenes that could mean that I could turn all 4 effects on at once with 1 button, or all 4 effects off with 1 button. The kind of stuff that will be super helpful if you're on, say, a theatre show where you've got to change sounds constantly. So I'd probably run it in blue mode, which is just effects. I'm old school, I'm used to just pedals, and so I'd probably just run it like I'd run pedals. And of course, within each block, I can set them to be whatever I want. So say I like that reverb, but I don't want the pitch at the beginning. Well, let's turn pitch on, and it's this at the moment. I can go to this, which is the Plex Delay. And I can do that on the fly with, you know, changing stuff. I might decide I want it to be rotary. Synth. Which may be the kind of sound that you only want for one song on one gig on occasion. You don't want to have a pedal on your board there the whole time. But that's the cool thing with this. You can just set that up in a new virtual pedal board and you're away and you've got that sound for the particular gig. So you can see there's a drive block there. I probably wouldn't use the drive block personally. I just put pedals in front of it. To me, that's kind of where you could, but you could do it if you wanted to travel light. So the thing with this unit is it's nice and light and portable, right? It's much smaller than an FM3. It's thinner, it's smaller, it's about half the weight. And so for some people that'd be good. If you don't need the modeling, then you could just use this. Now, the thing is, like, couldn't you just buy an FM3 and turn the modeling off? Totally. But this has some advantages if that's the usage you want from that. Firstly, you can run this off a 9-volt. So it just has a input here, which is 9-volt input. I think it needs 1.3 amps. So you'd have to use a doubler if you're using, like, say, two 500 milliamp outputs. You could double them and then go into there and run it. You couldn't do that with an FM3. It has to run on a jug cord. So this integrates into a pedal board much easier if you only want the effects part of it, right? This has USB out. Now I was thinking, why would you use USB out on an effects unit? I actually think there's some real advantages to that. You could take that out to record out, and then you've essentially got your guitar plus effects direct, and then you could reamp later. And then you could also say record the amp as well as this, and then you could put the USB version that's gone direct into your computer, and you could use that through, say, a plug-in. Thing with this is they've thought about a lot of stuff really carefully. Everything is solidly built with proper parts. I'm sure it's not cheap to manufacture. It doesn't feel it. It feels like a proper solid thing. Would touch screen be nice? Probably. Do you need it? I don't think so. I don't think touchscreen really works very well on pro equipment. Touchscreens break, right? And then you've got nothing. To me, it's like the regular screens seem to just have more longevity. One thing this does have that other units don't have is Spdif. You have a coax cable that's like an RCA cable. To me, one thing that's really important, and one reason I love the Strymon pedals, I've got a Timeline, I've got a Flint. I've pretty much had a Flint on my board for forever. And one of the important things with that for me is the analog through. Like, you know, if I'm going to run this into an expensive guitar amp like my Victoria over here, I don't want to be compromising the analog audio quality, but the analog to digital conversion stuff that goes on here is as good as the Strymon stuff, if not better. And with those virtual pedal boards, you can have a heap of them, right? So you could have one for one gig, a completely different thing for another gig. You could run acoustic guitars through it and have reverb and compression and your tuner and all your stuff for, say, an acoustic gig. I mean, just lots of possibilities. So to me, that's a powerful thing. Cool. Hey, thanks. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, drop them below. You know, happy to answer them if I know. I'm definitely no tech expert with any of this stuff. You know, I don't have a brain like Leon Todd, who definitely knows. He's did a mathematics degree, I believe, so he has that kind of mind. I'm just a humble guitar player. But yeah, so how I would run this is I'd run this for effects and all that stuff, and then I'd run drive pedals into it because it's small enough, right? Could even fit this on a nano board with a couple of drive pedals and you're away. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers. One thing it does have... And if you go and drop it, bloody hell, Nick. Streamline.